The border is closed by the grace of God. I can't even believe I'm saying it. The border is actually closed in the United States of America. How did that happen? Because it didn't happen in the previous 4 years. How did it happen? How did it happen so fast? Joining me now, Senior Advisor to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, also former Chief at Border Patrol, Ron Vitiello. Ron, how exactly do you go from record border crossings to virtually nothing in 100 days? How'd that happen?
Well, you get a new president who assigns leaders that know what they're doing, like Kristi Noem, and you give the front line the tools and the know-how. Like, they already know how to do this, right? You got to get out of their way and let them do the job. And then you add the assets from the interagency, and that's every single department in the government: the Treasury Department, the Justice Department, the Department of Defense, HHS. All of them are pointing in the direction to help the front line succeed in a way that I've never seen in over 30 plus years, both on the front line, in the headquarters, and now as a senior advisor at CBP. It's wonderful to see. Now, there is a lot more to do with regard to criminal cartels, with regard to detention space, with regard to interior enforcement. But we are well on our way to making the border a much safer place, thereby protecting the homeland in ways that weren't possible under the last president.
Ron, I understand that there are going to be limits on what you can tell us, and that's obviously fine. I don't want you to step out of bounds. But as far as the cartels go, we were told that we're going to go after them hard, and I know they have been. What have we done, and what are we intending to do as far as the limits on what you can tell us?
Well, what we've done is taken them off the field in regard to what areas they control in the southwest border. The front line of DHS, along with our heroes in the military, partnered with DOD, are now in control of the line. We know what happens, when it happens, and are able to respond. When people still try to invade the country, they're arrested quickly, and with the help of ICE, with the help of the State Department, with the help of the military, they're also being removed quickly. And there's a military-to-military relationship that has never existed in my time in government. And so our military is helping the Mexican military, trusted and vetted units, to do things in Mexico that I've never seen before. Mexico also has 10,000 National Guard troops deployed on their northern border, our southern border, helping exchange information, mirrored patrols, and all the things that keep the smugglers from being in control of that territory and allow the authorities to control it and regulate it. And so things that were happening just before January 20th are not happening on the southwest border anymore. There's still a lot to do, right? These cartels are not going to pull up their operations and just leave. They're going to continue to exploit ways that they can find to get into the country and ply their trade. They're going to look for other avenues into the United States, and we know some of those tactics. Tunnels are very popular amongst the high-level cartels in Mexico. They use drones now, aircraft. We'll have to watch the littorals around San Diego and Brownsville, Texas, the Caribbean, and our East Coast. But all of those things are in the toolkit now at DHS across the board with our interagency partners. And it'll just remain to be seen what the reaction of the cartel is. But again, an unprecedented cooperation amongst the interagency in the U.S. And things that Mexico is doing that they've never done before.
Ron, how reliant are we on the military specifically in order to get this border secure? And I ask, it's a completely loaded question because, to be honest, I don't want them to have to be there. I'm totally okay with them being there protecting the country, don't get me wrong. But the Border Patrol knows how to patrol the border. I wish we didn't have to supplement it with the military. How much are they handling?
This is a very good question. So there are 10,000 troops on the border. We're using military flights to help repatriate people that are in custody at ICE and inside of CBP. But yeah, it's 10,000. They've fortified the border. They've put up a bunch of sea wire. They're doing patrols. They're doing intelligence collection. They're monitoring our sensors for us. But you're right. Even under a supportive president, more needs to be done as it relates to the capabilities given by the Border Patrol, maybe left behind by the military. And so is this a longer term strategy? I agree with you. We want them focused on threats that only they can cover. We're grateful for their help now, but we want this to be able to be sustained in a way that allows the Border Patrol and the front line of DHS to do all of the things and only call on the military when it's absolutely necessary, and get them focused on the peer-to-peer threats and other threats that are in the country. But we're grateful to have them. But I do think that sustainability over the long term requires domestic law enforcement to be primary at the border, as it was most of the time.
Talk to me about Mexico's southern border, if you will, because obviously all those caravans, those thousands and thousands of people had to get through that one before they could get to our southern border. What's the status down there?
Right. So again, leadership matters here. The president has leveraged the thought of tariffs on goods from Mexico. We are their number one trading partner. They must do business in the United States for their economy to succeed and have, the working class have jobs in Mexico. It's a much smaller border between Guatemala and Mexico, easier to control. When they control their own border, it brings revenue like us. It brings revenue into the Treasury. And so with the threat of tariffs, their recognition of the shared responsibility for the flow through Mexico, they're controlling the border in ways that they haven't before. I'm not aware directly of their deployments on their southern border, but again, it's much more easily controlled there. And when the policies in the United States do not encourage people to come in to the United States to cross that border illegally, everybody sees less activity in the pipeline, the illicit activity, human trafficking, fentanyl, et cetera, et cetera. All of those things are trending in the right direction, including what's happening inside of Mexico.
Ron, can you speak at all about what's happening inside our border? I know the border is locked down, but we have millions, some say 20, who knows what the number is, millions that were brought in just under Joe Biden. We're not even talking about the kids. 300,000 is a laughably low number. We have a country full of illegals now. How do we get them out? Where are they?
So ICE has embarked on the largest interior enforcement operation for many decades, certainly the most in the last 10 years or so. And so they are targeting people who are in the country illegally, have also committed crimes in their communities. Those at-large arrests are approaching 50,000. Overall removals between ICE and CBP is well over 100,000. Again, a lot more to do. They need to scale up those operations. Congress needs to step in and give them the resources that they need to do this more often. We also see the interagency cooperating there, but what they're doing is they're targeting criminals who are in the United States, including those that live in and are being sanctuaried by cities who flout the rule of law and immigration authority. But they are conducting those at-large arrests more in the last several months than in the entirety of the Biden administration. So again, more to do, but they're focused on the worst of the worst. And then over time, that the aperture will expand to work on other illegal populations. What we're also doing, the CBP Home app, people who are in the country illegally, they wish to go back without consequence. They can raise their hand inside the app and ask for assistance on travel documents or being able to pay for airline tickets. Many people are electing to self-deport, just trying to sneak into Canada or just getting on airplanes and leaving. Thousands of people have already done that. So there's a full court press against the interagency. The secretary has also warned people who are in the country illegal that they must register with the government. If they don't do that, they face financial penalties besides the knock on the door and on the path to removal and deportation. And so there's a number of ways people can leave if they want to. And then we will see the Justice Department pressure more on these sanctuary jurisdictions so that ICE agents and officers can use local authorities and arrest people in jails that are also in the country illegally who have committed crimes. And so all of those things in play for the population that exists right now in the U.S.
Okay, Ron, final question. Tom Homan was discussing sanctuary cities. Here's what he said.
On the books that make it a criminal offense to shield or harbor illegal immigrants like the sanctuary state city leaders have been doing. Do you think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and possibly put in prison?
Absolutely. And hold tight on that one. Because it's coming. It's coming. I've been clearing that since day one.
What can be done against these sanctuary cities? I'm well aware that these sanctuary cities, they study the law, they try to dance through that minefield so they can protect illegals without violating the law. What can we do?
Well, I think the ultimate fix would be Congress coming in and making it illegal for jurisdictions to harbor people or to negate federal law by letting people who are in custody out without cooperating with ICE. You could legislate what was used to be called the Secure Communities Program, probably the most effective post 9/11 program that allowed local officers to nominate people who were born outside of the United States directly to ICE. ICE could file a detainer electronically, and there was a pipeline, if you will, out of the jail, out of the country. So you could reestablish that through legislation. In the meantime, any official or not that gets in the way of ICE conducting their work or harbors illegal aliens in the United States can and should be prosecuted. They will be prosecuted under the current efforts underway in the interior. And then the Justice Department can do things like restrict government grants, restrict Justice Department grants to these sanctuaries in order to get them to cooperate, right? Ask them if they will cooperate, have these agreements under 287G. If they don't do that, make them in some way through the legal process. Ultimately, Congress could seal this deal by putting this to bed with legislation, which obviously would be challenged in the courts, but that would be the most permanent way to fix it.
Fingers crossed. Ron, thank you for what you do. Please keep keeping us safe. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.